This is Daniel Andrew Boyd and Kory May. We will be with you in minutes. Probably 10, 7 minutes. I have to run around and send this link to everybody. Thank you for those of you who are showing up right away. Da, 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 da. My Facebook has gone mad, and maybe
Really?
I've got to. Oh, yeah.
So I just want to indulge in a couple of bad dad jokes because, I saw
Perfect.
your glasses fly apart and you're just
Oh,
reapplying your creative lens. Sorry, I can't help
oh,
myself.
so good.
Thank you. Thank you.
So good. All right, let's see. What can I do? I don't want. Who do I send this to?
So for everybody who is just tuning in wanting to see all the action, we're in an interstitial moment right now. It's a moment of clarity where we're getting all of our stuff together.
Yeah.
For talking to my kids, I would be saying we've got our poop in a group, which is a euphemism that we have our stuff together. My heavens.
Is this the only Chrome? What is your music aggregator of choice? Are you a Spotify person?
I hardly use Spotify. I have
All right.
satellite radio and I use that a lot. I
Okay.
love
Okay.
I love satellite radio for the variety
So
of.
is that just like Cirrus?
Yeah, that's
Is that
Sirius
XM?
XM. Yeah.
Okay.
And there are so many channels that it allows me to find something in my muse. Okay, secret thing that's just between the two of us.
Okay.
I like bluegrass music.
Oh.
Yeah. I didn't think I liked it, and then I started listening to Prairie Home Companion decades ago, and I really enjoyed it. And sometimes when I want to just not be hit by uh, uh, bone marrow shaking bass, I listen to bluegrass. I've also gotten into some Zydeco of late. You know, the uh, the the music from Louisiana. Zydeco is quite dancey.
Join Kory May and I as we tell stories. Dun, 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 dun.
So, what's your music aggregator, if you will, if I may borrow your
I
euphemism?
have tried a lot of them. I've never had Pandora, but right now I'm doing YouTube Music,
Nice.
and I'm doing it because I like YouTube without ads.
Ah,
Um, can I put this?
they never do ads. Well, I shouldn't say
You
never.
can you
They
can
do.
you can have an ad blocker. Is that
Yeah.
what you're gonna tell me?
No, no, no. I wasn't going to do that. Um,
Okay.
in longer, in longer videos, like over 4 minutes, they will drop an ad in the middle of it, which always annoys the stuffing out of me. But I just don't like paying for things like that.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Um,
don't mind commercials between my videos. No problems with that. Plus, I downloaded a lot of music to my phone, which was a long time ago, and I find some of that like comfort music. Let's see.
so I'm looking for the event space.
I was in. Oh yeah, I used. I dropped
Have you
in.
already?
I think I dropped in the link that you had for week 3 on my page last week. Um, Oh shoot, I had a thought and it just went in and out of my head.
All right, I can. Can I put it into chat? If I make my screen bigger, there's private chat. Where is chat? There we go. Story Look is streaming live. Yes, we are.
Yeah, we have the stream here on my Facebook page for all my
Yeah,
friends.
you were. It said that you connected a bunch of stuff. Do you think it's still connected?
I
Are
think
you
so.
going to everything? Can you? All right. And then where should I put us? All right. I think that's it. I think I've sent it everywhere that I can send it. And I am ready and raring to show you how little progress I've made. We had a holiday, and I'm going to use that as an excuse, but I'm also going to say this has been an enlightening experience in that I'm not as hard of a worker as I think I am. But maybe I should say that I'm more of a scattered worker than I realize I am, because I have published a lot this week. I just haven't been able to focus specifically on this story. Have you worked on yours at all?
Yes, and so we're
Yeah.
going to use an improvisational comedy technique of accepting your concept, and also I want to add on to it. Both of the versions of my Dave story from last week, they sat with me, they sat okay, but I've been having these moments of epiphany moments, and I just don't know whether I'm falling into the cliche of reset. But I always thought that reset, I should have some sort of epiphany moment, even grander than just the regular story turn. Moments of clarity, and this is an opportunity for me to change, to demonstrate the Delta moment where I am actually changed. Especially with a theme like reset, it should be measurable and on some level profound in that moment, right? So I went back and I watched your story,
Mm-hmm.
and
Wow.
total nerd moment for me. When Elizabeth says, "I could take you to utopia," and then you say, "Nah, I'm good."
Mm-hmm.
That's your Delta moment, and it's profound in that moment because, again, and I don't mean to be analyzing or doing a full line read, but it just struck me again with this is the Delta moment. You're out for a date that's not going as well as it should have been, and then it redeems itself and you're like, oh hey, this is interesting, and then you express interest about the character of who she is, and she talks about the oh, that's not a character that I created. That's who I am. I'm from an alternate dimension, and I'm going to bring utopia to Earth via eggnog. Okay, so you have the opportunity at that moment to run screaming away, or but you follow it through to its ultimate conclusion. And when she talks to you about showing you her portal and taking you to utopia, you say, nah, I'm good. And for me, that just worked. It works as a story. It works in your moment of change, but that this person was not the right person for you to go on a date with. And I was
Yeah.
like, I haven't shown that profound that scalably, gosh, I hate to use this word, that scalably profound moment where you're like, no, no. And it contrasts, no, I'm good, with 2024 Chicago is a hellscape. Nobody remembers how to date. And here you are at the end. You remember how to date. You don't want to be a part of the hellscape. And you say no. And I was diagramming it out and I was like, dang, that's really good.
All
That's
right.
really good.
This is then I'm ready. If you want me to go first.
Please, by all means, do so.
I'll kick into it. And that was actually really helpful, a little bit of analysis. And I'm going to use some segue here to say Kory and I are doing this as part of the personal narrative Facebook group. That's why we have joined this channel to work on this. We gave each other sort of this challenge to spend 4 weeks really trying to hone in on a story. Then we will bring it to the Moth, do it on stage. If we get our name pulled, and talk about what the experience was like, how we felt the audience handled it, what we could do better in the future, but like also do a little analysis of like what's our process. Part of my process is bringing it to a lot of different people and trying it in front of others. So, Kory in the last one really liked the ending line. I was hesitant, and other people are hesitant. And Kory's opening it up, doubling down on the this last line. And so what I'm gonna do is a little technique that Sean Wellington likes to give out as advice. And I had actually come up with a new last line. And what I'm going to do because of this talk is I'm going to bump it up. I'm going to do my new last line earlier so Kory gets his last line. And we'll see how that affects it. And I think Kory will understand what I'm talking about once it happens. All right. Here we go.
Do you want me to time it?
Yes, please.
All right, just a second. Let me get myself all organized over here.
For those who don't know, you get a 5-minute story with 1 minute overage
Exactly.
at the Moth, and usually they're a little lenient. You can pull off a 6:30, but don't. They don't like it.
Well, and the other thing is, your story better be doggone compelling to do the
Yeah,
6:30.
That's a bigger part of it. If people are interested and they're having a good time, going long by 30 seconds matters way less, and they can make up that time by going quicker in between. All right, here we go.
Whenever you're ready.
I am living in 2024, and it is a Chicago dating dystopian hellscape of nasty. I am just in the grime of it, meeting the worst people, kind of being the worst person, going on these dates, and I'm just looking for someone who will like me a little bit. For me, someone who will just go on a date and be nice. Like that's just a little ray of hope. But that's not where I am. Where I am is on the phone trying to navigate this situation where I'm not accusing them of something that I know that they're doing, which is standing me up. And I'm saying, listen, I am sure that something came up. I am sure and I just hope that it's not you're got into a car accident or anything bad happened to you. Listen, I know things happen. It's not a big deal. But if you ever decide to call me back, that's fine. I did come to the restaurant. You and I'm gonna stay for like 5 more minutes, and then I'm gonna jet. And I hope that you're okay. And I just want to know that I'm wishing you the best. Click. And I am not waiting 5 minutes. I'm going straight back to my bicycle. I am unlocking the thing, and I can't believe I've done this again, where I've gotten stood up, and I've got my bike lock in my hand when she calls me back, and I say, "Hello, this is the Boyd's residence. May I ask who's speaking, please?" And she says, "Fuck you. Why the fuck are you calling me?" And I say, "Well, I think that there's been some sort of miscommunication here. And you clearly don't know who I am, but you should, because you confirmed that we're going on a date late last night." Oh my God. Oh my God. I am drunk. I'm not drunk. I'm hungover. No, I'm not hungover. I shouldn't say that. Listen, I will be right there. Elizabeth, where do you live? I live in Logan. Okay, I am not waiting. Like, you clearly are just getting out of bed right now. I'm not waiting an hour at this restaurant alone. How about I bike over to you? You just roll out of bed and we can just go to some restaurant that's like right next to you. So we hang up. That's what I do. I bike over there. Surprisingly awesome. She seems sweet and interesting and kind and a little quirky, just what I'm looking for. We're having this great conversation. And I say, "You know what? I love your YouTube video. You have this like whole persona that you do, and all your friends are involved. I want to know, how'd you come up with this eggnog character?" She locks eyes with me, and I am transfixed. I am stuck. There is someone who in the kitchen drops a plate and it shatters everywhere, and I cannot pull my eyes away from her when she says, "That's not a character. I am the eggnog queen. I am both from the future and another dimension. And I have come to this world. I have been tasked with bringing this world utopia. I've decided to start here in Chicago, but soon it'll be all of Illinois, and then the United States and the world. All through the power of my eggnog recipe. Where I'm from, it's utopia, and the utopia is based on eggnog." I tell her, obviously not me, right? But like, hypothetically, when you're in this situation and you explain this whole thing to someone else and they tell you, "Yeah, I don't believe you," what is your response? She's locked my eyes again, and I just wish there was a plate or something to crash. I could drop something, but nothing happens. It is silent. We are dead locked into each other. She says, "That's never happened before." There's two things that people tell me after I tell them this. "Oh, that's cool." Or there's a little bit of a pause, and then they say, "Okay." Okay. And then I change the topic, and the rest of this late lunch is awesome. We talk about her entrepreneurship. She's doing all these side hustles. She's got this boyfriend who's maybe not really her boyfriend, but she's helping him build his career, and she's doing all this stuff, and she's really cool, and she's into the things I'm doing. We finish the lunch. We head outside, and she says, "Danny, you know what? Why don't you come back to my apartment? Because the portal back to the future, to the other dimension that I'm from, is there. And I'd like to take you to Utopia. It'd be so much easier for me to show you so you can understand. And confronted with this, I realized that I'll take the hellscape of Chicago dating over Utopia. And I tell her, nah, I'm good.
6:48. All right. I think the principal elements of what makes this so good are in here. And let me highlight some of those. Your word choices at the very beginning. I love the word grime. I love grime and grimy. Love it because they don't get used nearly enough, and it's much more evocative than dirty. I love it. I Boyd residence. How I loved that. Your facial expressions are phenomenal.
Thank
I
you.
pointed out 3 times when you had great facial expressions. The look when she cursed you out, of this disbelief on your face, that was one. Two, second time, the when she talks about utopia, and then the third time is after, uh, no one's ever said that to me. They always respond, it's cool or okay. Your facial expression of confusion is wonderful right there. Um, I'll jump one more time, and then your facial expression just before you deliver your last line was phenomenal. Now let's jump back into some more of your language. Uh, let's see. You can't pull your eyes from hers. That was again, that scene just works, and as you're discovering how important eggnog is to the future. Uh, that whole description where you take that particular solitary moment and explode it and expand it, that works really well there. Now, here are some things that I would invite you to consider.
Yeah, yeah.
You were telling me a lot, and show. I wish your words were. I would ask that your words show me more.
Yeah.
And when you are toward the end, when with your in your conversation post the discovery that eggnog is the currency of the future and all that, be specific when she's talking about the things that you're interested in. You're going bantering back and forth about interests. Be specific, because things,
Yeah.
it's appropriately enough vague enough where I was like, were you talking about the egg drop soup? Were you talking about women's fashion? Could it be carrot sticks
Yeah,
on
yeah, yeah, yeah.
the open market? I don't know. You've used um, her gaze transfixing you, or that idea, twice. Do you want to use it a third time, or what? I mean, I saw a lot of this, but because I last week's version was, while stripped down, a bit more descriptive.
Yep.
This has still got great legs and everything, and I think you're almost to where you want it, but tweak the descriptions.
Yeah, yeah. Concrete details. And like it's kind of one of those things where you think it's going to slow you down, but it really can speed you up
Right.
if you give a specific word.
Well, because
So yeah, like I like the sense of place. Just give more of those sort of lush sensory details.
Right. In that moment where the plate shatters, I get it. And I that that loud crash and then the absence of noise in the aftermath had me. I get it. I I felt that. So I don't know whether I have an elevated imagination or what, but it worked for me in terms of that was one of those descriptive moments that worked so well.
Yeah.
Thoughts about my feedback? Was that
No, that's
fair?
good. You know, fast Indian fusion lunch place like is gonna give me a lot
Oh yeah.
to give the
Oh yeah.
sense of like where we're eating and who's around and things like that. And I think again like there's a piece we got to give some description of her.
Right. And
And I think
especially
the other thing is like there's some points where I'm hesitating because I don't have the words, and then I end up going with some blank image like things or something of that nature. So once I have the specific words that I want to use, it's gonna run smoother overall.
but okay, even in that, just looking at the fact that it was 6:48 or thereabouts, is
Yeah.
that necessary? What you talk about for as does it provide enough detail to be included in the story? Because now I'm asking you to kill some darlings. Because if it's not driving the story forward in terms of your conflict or a description or internal dialogue, does it need to be in there?
Yeah, I think just the I think everything that you said to me fits in as a cut. That's how I envision this. Like I just think it's all cuts, right? And it just gets replaced with concise words that are more concrete.
Right.
I think the confidence from knowing the word choices will bring it. I think under 6. Like I think this is under 6
I agree.
in my next iteration. Like I don't even think that I'll be like up against the time.
Real quickly, what is what was the line that that you added that was
Yeah. So my ending line was like it was the line about I realize when faced between utopia and it might turn I might be when faced between Eggtopia and the hellscape that is Chicago's dating scene, I'm still gonna land in Chicago. So I turn and I tell her, "No, I'm good." And that's got to be that's the line, right? Chicago's gonna love that. I still choose Chicago.
well, yes,
Yeah,
because you're Chicago AF.
yeah, yeah,
Oh, Dan, also your words again, utopia in the middle of the story versus dystopia at the beginning. For me, that was such a wonderful callback. It and again, it brings it forward. It pulls it forward by its antonymical nature.
yeah. That was one of the notes that I got in that I was working on over Christmas. Was I was avoiding the word dystopia. I was
Mm,
calling it Chicago hellscape,
right.
apocalyptic, all these other things that I'm still throwing in there, but I wouldn't say the word dystopia. And so like after I'd have these conversations, I'd be like, "Do you understand that like I'm in a dystopia, and then she offers me utopia, and everybody was like, no, as soon as you say it, it makes perfect sense that you did that. It's so clear. But they were all like, we're too dumb. You have to say the actual word dystopia for us to get it. And so that was a in revision moment for me, where I was like, okay. In a written work, I think it's like it might be too on the nose in
But
the written version,
yes,
but
yes,
but in an oral version, you gotta be more on the nose.
right. Because people can't go back and reread your previous spoken words.
Right.
And again, it's wordsmithing that I really appreciate because it pulled me back to the beginning. You're seeking haven and solace in Chicago, and this just got weird when the utopia is the eggtopia is offered, and now all of a sudden, poof, you have this.
So, yeah, there's a couple things to talk about and sort of double click on or expand is in Matthew Dick's book Storyworthy.
Mm-hmm.
He talks about it in the sense of a movie where if you have a character who's down in the dumps and they're sad in the beginning, at
Mm-hmm.
the end of the movie, they're going to be super happy. And you can kind of see the mirror. He went through the change there. Uh, Dan Harmon, who did Community and Rick and Morty, has sort of a story circle where he
Mm-hmm.
ends the person right where they began. And like you learned something, but he didn't.
Right.
He went through this thing, and all of a sudden he's right back where he started, and you can see. Uh,
That was also one of the ideas behind Star Trek, the original series. It's that the adventure happens, characters change, and our characters go through things, and then they come back, but that change doesn't affect them permanently.
mm-hmm.
So Spock can be happy in an episode, but when he comes back when it's the end of the show, Spock is still the stoic, half human, half Vulcan who suppresses his emotions and sees the world in a logical black and white picture.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that that's what's happening here, and sort of what we're pointing out. So when you're thinking about your own stories that you're working on, that's something like what ties the beginning to the end.
Right.
Sometimes it's an image, sometimes it's this piece of change, and then you reflect back on where you were at the beginning, but giving a sense of connection between the top and the bottom is very resonant for listeners. Yeah, you ready?
Yeah, I've been rewriting and well, I've been writing other stories.
Yeah, yeah.
Ugh, jeez.
But so you're gonna give me a whole new reset?
Yeah, I'm gonna give a whole new reset.
All right.
The silence in the aftermath of your partner breaking up with you for the second time in 3 years is deafening. And silence, by definition, is the absence of sound. But with that absence of sound, there's an absence of motion, of movement, of warmth. And it's in that moment that you realize that you are afraid. I have two friends with whom I do a lot. And that doesn't sound unusual, but they're my homies. I've known them for forever and a day. I know that sounds cliche. I've known them since I was an early teenager. And Chop is white, Miggy Smalls is Jewish, and me, I'm neither. But we are this group of close friends. We've got a habit of making a conference call every time there is University of Iowa sports, and we talk to each other throughout the games. Usually we're working out. And what's funny is the image of three middle-aged men grunting and groaning over the phone on a conference call during Hawkeye sports. It's in the silence between our grunts and groans that I say she broke up with me. Everything comes to a stop. She did? Why? I wouldn't move to be with her until I have a job. Makes sense. Yeah. We go back working out, grunts, groans, the occasional flatulence, and profanity. Do you think you're going to get back together? No. She said it was done. I envy you guys, I say to Miggy and Chop, because you've got somebody for 20 plus, almost 30 years, and I don't have that. And at my age, I don't think I'm ever going to have that. Silence. And I'm working harder and harder on my rowing machine so that the pain in my body is greater than the pain that I feel in my chest. And I'm not sure whether it's sweat coming down my face or whether it's tears. But Mig and Chop just keep going along. The silence is broken again. Are you going to be okay? Yeah, if I can get my hamstrings to loosen up. No, dumbass. On the inside. In your heart. I don't know. Am I supposed to be alone for the rest of my life? I can't tell you that. Is it going to hurt like this forever? I can't tell you that either. I keep rowing. I keep sweating. And finally I say, am I supposed to be alone for the rest of my life? Did I just blow my last chance at love? There's silence and me breathing heavy. And they both say, I have no idea, brother. And I break down. If I don't have somebody at this age, what do I have? And Miggy says out of nowhere, you got us. And Chop says, yeah, you got us. We got your back, bro. And suddenly the pain in my chest doesn't feel so bad. And my hamstrings don't hurt as much. And what I realize is that I still have my homies. And I got love for them in my heart.
Nah, fuck this one.
What? You don't like it?
In comparison, for what we're trying to do here, this is just downgrade.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Do you like this is good, you know, it's a thing. It fits.
Well, and it was.
But are you like being
inside.
like? Are you being like I'm too raw for the other one?
I don't know. I don't know. I was feeling like I wanted to give a unique sociological insight into masculinity and male intimacy. All right, maybe that does sound like bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's an interesting thing to do, and that's like a plausible, but
You like
in
the other stuff better?
comparison, yeah, in comparison to the tried and true heartache uh, of cancer,
Right.
it's just it's a recipe that works
Well,
for this audience.
I don't want it to be just like a classic trope, right? Like
Yeah, yeah, but it is it's sure, but it's also a different spin on it,
right.
right? It it also is everything that this is, right? Well, that whole line you just said about like, oh, it's an interesting like in
Ah,
insight into male bonding close relationships.
right. I have that in a much better way or in a different deeper way when I'm talking about missing Dave.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this
Yeah, well
story
no.
is totally worth exploring that you just did. I just don't think it's the I'm glad I heard it and you got it out of your system. But I think in 2 weeks let's work on this one. Like there's a bunch of stuff that I'm just like dying to say, but like
Oh,
the
go ahead.
biggest thing
You can
is
say
that
whatever
just
it you
that
say.
like
It's cool.
is the we got to go back to one of the last two.
Right.
That's my gut.
Well, and that one is yeah, that one's got better legs, if you will. Um, the eulogy that I gave for Dave, essentially, be the kind of person um, that someone would say to you, "Time with you is time well spent." That's a much more powerful image in terms of reset because it gives you as much as we don't want to have that call to action as explicitly stated, but it hits harder, especially when we are talking about someone who is touched by cancer. And everybody's been touched by cancer in some way, shape, or form. So there we go. I will go back to the other story.
Yeah. All right. I'm ready.
Oh, so you want me to you want me to do that one now?
Yeah.
Okay. Whew.
Yeah, we got that.
Now it's getting hot in here. Let's see here.
What what if is there a combination of the first two?
Um,
Are you 100% out on the first one cuz like the first one has so one of the things that stops this from just being the cliche cancer is that I've been to a fair number of moths and I've seen a lot of cancer stories win and it's me, my spouse, my dad. And so this is different because it's I'm watching my friend go through this. And that does just it's another aspect. And so it's in the realm of this theme and like you said it touches everybody, but it also touches us in this way of we haven't heard this aspect of the story yet.
right.
And connecting with that fealty to his kids and like how to be a good godparent and what that means.
Oh, so
I like that a lot.
I really love the word fealty. Thank you for using that. You made me happy. Um, then I would probably change. then I would probably change the opening of it to, well,
To anybody who's jumping on just now, we are working on stories. We got one more week after this, but we the last 3 weeks we've been working on stories that we're going to bring to the Moth, and then we're going to come back on the 5th week, and we're going to give you a little quick recap of how we felt it went.
right. March 4th, 2024, my best friend Dave Kaplan died. And it was a friendship that lasts multiple decades. Dave was 11 years older than I was, and his family and my family were very close. Legend has it, according to my mom and Dave, that he gorged himself on mulberries at the back of our property. He climbed up the trees and ate so many that his little purple face and purple hands, he just passed out in our backyard. Now, this is well before I was born, and my mother finds this small white child in the middle of her yard in the 1960s. And of course, she's a little concerned. Little boy, do your parents know where they are, where you are? And he says yes. And he guides my mom over to their house. And that's how my mom and dad met his mom and dad. His mom happened to be my school librarian, and our families were close. When I transferred back to the University of Iowa, he gave me my first fun job. He owned a comic store, and I love comic books. And as a result, we were friends. Now, Dave lived at the intersection of time and interest. If you were interested in something and wanted to develop yourself, he would give you his time and he would give you his wisdom and insight. I was a willing subject. And as a result, Think and Grow Rich and How to Win Friends, Influence People were big conversation starters. When I would visit from Wisconsin or Washington, D.C., and I would get in, we might start talking at 8 o'clock at night, and his wife, Joni, would wake up at 5 in the morning and see me still there. And she said, "Oh, you boys, I don't understand how you can do this." But she accepted me, and I'm part of their family. We would drive around eastern Iowa on adventures and looking for comic books or depression glass, antiques of all kinds. And Dave afterwards would always ask me, "So, Kory, did you have a good time?" "Of course, Dave, I always had a good time. I always have a good time with you." When I got married, Dave becomes my best man. And he gives me away, so to speak. And to all 5 of my children, Dave is their godfather. He loves my children as much as his own. And every time they come to town, he shares time with them. At some point, Dave gets sick. And he fights off cancer 4 different times. He has a bone marrow transplant and a kidney transplant. And I ask him, "Dave, how do you survive all this?" He mutters out, "It's because I'm particularly hard to kill." And it's true. Sometimes we take people's presence in our lives for granted. And I think that Dave's going to be around forever. He's eternal. In late February of 2024, Dave goes into the hospital, and his family gets me on the list of preferred visitors, and I see him. We spend time together, and we talk. On one of those trips in the past that I talked to you about, he would ask me, "Hey, Kory, did you have a good time?" And I would say, "Dave, time with you is time well spent." And so it was on this time in late February. We talked about Caitlin Clark and how she was breaking records. We talked about National Public Radio. We talked about hopes and dreams for the future. And Dave reveals to me that he's got a grandbaby coming. He's visibly excited, and I know he's going to pull through. When I leave, it dawns on me that he may not pull through. And I call my older sister and I say, Dave's the finest man I know. And she says, duh, tell him. The next phone conversation I have, I do. And he says, that's a very fine compliment coming from the likes of you. So March 4th, Dave dies. 1 week shy of 68 years. He doesn't get a chance to see his grandbaby. And that's where I come in. I'm committed to making sure his grandbaby knows exactly who he is. And the fact that I shot myself in the foot on this one. Sorry.
Yeah. But you're close.
And I want to share with you the message that I'm going to share with her, his grandbaby. Time with you is time well spent. And if you can be the person that someone would say to someone to whom someone would say, time with you is time well spent, then you're doing all right. And I got all twisted up. Sorry about that.
Yeah. But that's it. There's a way into that.
Yeah.
And we just got to find the words.
Yeah, I got to
exact
trim
phrasing for that
it
ending.
Up.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to be able to have his origin story in this one. Maybe I start with that and I don't reveal. I show the purple hands and the purple face. That's a great image.
Mm-hmm. So here's my in for you there.
Right.
Is the grandbaby a grandson?
Granddaughter.
It's a granddaughter. Okay.
He called her. He had the sonogram. He called her his nugget.
yeah, nugget. I love it. Nugget. Can take out my little nugget.
Sorry. It makes me smile and makes me think of Dave.
Mulberry's 10 years old. I think getting your mom to say, like, it looks like you've been having a good time.
Okay.
Right? Or you know, there's something, either good time or something about spent time.
Right.
You know, she and then the other one is in both of your versions of this, you said, do your parents know where they are? And then fixed it. But I think that that's better. Is there any way that your mom would say that? You know what I mean? Like, do your parents know where they are? Because they're the ones who's, in a way, they're not with him. You know what I mean? Like, it's
right.
sort of like a country kind of way of saying it. So it might be the better line to just say it wrong and own it.
Huh. Okay. I'm going to play with that.
Yeah. Comic books. You're right at 6 minutes. And so seeding the grandchild is what we got to do. Because it kind of comes out of the blue in this latest attempt version playing around with. And in one of the other ones, it was like earlier.
Right.
So it's like there's two ways I think. Uh you know, he's he's somebody's grandchild. Like if we just say grandchild early on, so that image is there, I think that's enough that people will know that it's that kind of story. The other thought that I had was was something with like maybe that's I'm gonna take this girl mulberry picking, and it's gonna be time well spent.
Well, yeah. I think we cut down the mulberries.
Well, sure,
Yeah.
you do it however you want,
Right.
but tying her to an image of the earlier
Right.
whatever your beginning is might be the other solution for it not feeling so
Or
abrupt.
or I could bring in the comic book thing as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Maybe the comic book thing will be the the through line. The problem that I've been struggling with this because it this has an epic feel to it, and I don't want it to have an epic feel. I want it to have instead of the whole loaf, I kind of want one distinct slice with um, depth and flavor, right? So I mean, you can go to your local bakery and you can pick up a loaf of pumpkin bread, and you can eat the whole pumpkin bread. But there's always that those middle two or three slices that are super moist and the biggest ones, and I'm trying to find that perfect middle slice to pull out and have everything self-contained right there. So that's why I'm trying to find that focus, and that's why I jumped over to some other stuff. But this is going to require me to hone this down even tighter.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Uh, you boys, good time. What time is it? Yeah. I'm into it. The mulberries is my favorite part. So like, if you're doing that, that's where it is for me. And I would just be like, I would just stay there in that version of the slice and be like, yeah. So first, I'm gonna push back and say I think the epic works. I think that this is an okay. Normally, that's the right call is to like go for that slice. I think this story that you have is epic and it fits. You've got good sections that feel full and real, and we get a sense of him and you in distinct stages with a through line of good time and time well spent, and these three women saying can say good time, all three of them. So it's your mom, his wife, your sister, And that's what it is, like you guys being there for each other in these sort of vignettes and people observing it and seeing it.
Right. So this
Uh
is going to get down into the mechanical allocation of time. No, no pun intended. Um, the actual mechanics of the structure. I need probably two scenes to illustrate. I've got probably three quick scenes in here. Um, well, the opening one with the mulberries, um, uh, getting to having the scene with Dave and Dave and I staying up late. That's another one. Um, the road best man, Godfather to the kids, um, road trips, road trips after illness. Time with you is time well spent, and then the scene with my sister. I mean, after seeing him in the hospital, and then close it up with the time with you is time well spent. And this is what I will say to his granddaughter. Well, oh, so in that scene where we're in the hospital, he has to reveal to me that he's going to have a granddaughter. So that would be hit my relationship. Yeah, it's parallel structure. His relationship to my kids, my relationship with his granddaughter, parallel structuring. So then I can say to her, I can teach her time with you is time well spent. I think that works. That's
yeah,
going to
yeah,
be
yeah.
some wordsmithing.
Yep. But
I think
that's very close to the way to say it, right? I need to teach her that time spent with her is time well spent.
right.
You know. Yeah. That's a version I like and I think it works. And you'll figure out if any which one of those to cut. Um
Oh, before we get too far afield, and I know it's getting close to that time.
yeah.
I do have to tell our audience that if they haven't been to one of your Story Luck potlucks, it's something to do and to put on your calendar because it's the first week in February, I believe.
Yes, the first Sunday of February, which is February 2nd, we are having a potluck at Theater Wit. This is in Chicago. If you are not in Chicago, the thing that you can do with me is hang out at book club. We have a book club called Detention, and that means you don't have to read the book. You're getting sent to detention, and you gotta go whether you read the book or not. So detention is happening January 13th. That's going to be streaming live. We'll be on Facebook Live. We'll be on YouTube. We'll be on Twitch. January 13th, which is Monday, 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern. And I never know what Pacific time is, probably 5. So, yeah. I would love to have the streamers hang out with me for detention. And if you are in Chicago, come hang out with me in real life and listen to some stories. We've got a good feature lineup. We have Beerfinger is coming to play music, and then we have a performance artist who's gonna talk about how she went in for a what do they call it? Not a hysterectomy. What's a hysterectomy?
When you have your uterus and
Yeah, she goes in for a hysterectomy, and then they forget to take it out.
oh no,
And it's
and
it's gonna be a good
this is
it's
in
gonna be a good
detention.
story. This no, that's gonna be live at our live show.
Okay, so I do have to tell you, and you get to find this out. I will be in Chicagoland, God willing, on February 1st because I'm
Oh,
doing a show in Chicagoland, and
well then I'll be there.
I would love for you to I would love to be able to tell a story, perhaps at Story Luck, because I'll
Yeah,
be
yeah,
in
yeah.
there.
Yeah. Come. We'll throw you on. Uh Sweet. What show are you doing February 1st?
I'm doing Love Notes, a
I'm
storytelling show. Join us for an enchanted evening of love stories from heartwarming to heartbreaking, along with live music and a post-show reception.
where is this?
Women's Club of Wilmette. I'm going to be up north. I don't know why you're grimacing. I'm coming 250 miles. Hopefully.
Dude, walking out my front door is hard. Everything should be streaming.
It may be. I have made
Yeah, yeah.
provision. Hopefully, if the weather is good, I will be up there
Yeah.
well in advance. And if not, I will be streaming from my apartment to make sure that no one is left feeling snubbed or anything of the sort.
Yeah, that's awesome. This was a good talk. We got through a lot, and I think our stories are coming along. We got like a good path forward on what to hone in, and they're going to be pretty solid.
Oh, I think so too. I'm going to be working on it extensively throughout the week, because these proportions, knowing that I have the right thing, and now it's just mixing up proportions.
Yeah.
This is so much more enjoyable than, oh geez, I've got to create something from scratch. So congratulations, Dan. You have helped me, and I hope that I have helped you.
Super helped. All right.